Thank you for your interest in participating in our divorce clinic. My name is Dolly Hernandez. I practice exclusively in the area of family and matrimonial litigation. I am a CABA member and a member of the Board of Directors of Legal Services of Greater Miami. This clinic is geared towards assisting clinic participants with completing the documents associated with the filing of a simple divorce. That is, a divorce where there are no minor children and no property, assets, or debts to divide. The clinic is made possible through a partnership between Legal Services of Greater Miami and the Cuban American Bar Association, or CABA, Pro Bono Project. This informational video is designed to provide our volunteer attorneys with information on how to assist those individuals who are participating in the clinic with completing the simple divorce packet. Most clients will have with them a simple divorce packet from the Family Court Self-Help Program. Some may use the Florida Supreme Court approved family law forms. The forms require the same information and are substantially the same. The clinics will take place at the offices of Legal Services of Greater Miami, 3000 Biscayne Boulevard, 5th floor. There is free parking available behind the building. Participation in the clinic will be by appointment only. Participants will either come to the clinic with the document packet that they have already purchased from the court's self-help program, or we may have pre-printed the Florida Supreme Court approved family law forms. We will only be assisting with simple dissolution packets. To qualify for assistance, clinic participants must meet certain eligibility criteria. They must be income eligible, which means within 125% of poverty guidelines, and be U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents. In addition, in order to obtain a simple divorce, participants must have no minor or dependent children born from the marriage, adopted or currently expecting a child, have no assets or debts to divide, either because they have no assets or debts, or they have already agreed as to how they will divide their property and or debts, and have been a resident of the state of Florida for at least 6 months prior to the date of filing for dissolution. All participants will be pre-screened prior to their participation in the clinic. You will be meeting with only one party of the action to avoid any conflicts of interest. There are some things that we will not do as part of the clinic. Since this clinic is for the purpose of helping pro se litigants file their own divorce papers, the pro bono attorney will not do any of the following: file a notice of appearance, represent in court, appear or file any other documents on behalf of the party, contact or communicate with opposing party, or do anything to appear on behalf of the clinic participant. If the matter has become contested, or if it appears that the case does not meet criteria for participation in this clinic, then the participant will be referred to the private bar or Dade County Legal Aid Society for further advice, counsel, and representation. If a pro bono attorney is particularly compelled by a participant to make an appearance and represent, then the pro bono attorney may do so upon notice to Legal Services of Greater Miami, CABA, staff of interest, and cannot charge any attorney's fees. Prior to meeting with a pro bono attorney, the participants will have signed a retainer agreement. The retainer agreement is available for you to view on a link on the Legal Services of Greater Miami website volunteer page labeled Sample Divorce Clinic Retainer. You can familiarize yourself with the obligations of both the pro bono attorney and the participant. A Legal Service of Greater Miami staff member will sign the agreement. For each participant that you meet, you will be required to complete a clinic applicant information form. It is for internal use only and not to be shared with the applicant. It is designed to keep accurate records with regard to who we saw, what advice was provided, and referrals to outside sources, if any. There is a link available on the Legal Services of Greater Miami website volunteer page to view the sample applicant information sheet. A note about confidentiality for protection against domestic violence. Keep in mind that oftentimes there are domestic violence issues associated with the filing of a divorce. You should gently inquire with the applicant about any history of domestic violence, reasonable fear he or she will become a victim of domestic violence, or whether there are any current civil or criminal restraining orders. If the participant needs to keep their address confidential and out of public records to avoid domestic violence, then you must advise the applicant to file for a request for confidential filing of address. All the information requested in the forms will be filed for a divorce is required and must be completed. But the request for confidential filing of address puts the clerk of court on notice to review and redact any information considered private for the protection of the filing individual. For your review, take a look at the sample request for confidential filing of address, which is provided on the Legal Services of Greater Miami website volunteer page. If required for a participant, you will fill out the form with the participant and advise him or her to provide it to the clerk of court for filing. There may be other valid reasons that a request for confidential filing of address is appropriate. The clerk of court will determine whether the applicant qualifies to keep certain information confidential. The clerk of court will also automatically redact and keep private the notice of Social Security number, which is required for each party. There is no need to file a notice of confidential filing for the Social Security information. The notice of Social Security number will be discussed further below. A note about the divorce packet for filing. You will be assisting clinic participants with completing a simple divorce packet from the court's self-help program. We have a link available on the volunteer page of the Legal Services of Greater Miami website in the event that you would like to familiarize yourself with the packet prior to attending our clinics. Please note that each form from the self-help program is identified with a self-help file number and receipt number. Do not copy the forms to be used for other participants, as each packet is unique to each individual who purchased it. Also, we will have pens, highlighters, scratch paper, and correction fluid available for your use during the clinic. All of the forms that are required for the participant are listed in the index of forms included in each packet. You will find the index on page 21 of the Self-Help Simple Divorce Packet. The first page of each form must be labeled "Prepared with the assistance of Pro Bono Counsel at the Simple Divorce Clinic, a joint project with CAVA and Legal Services of Greater Miami." You will be provided with labels to affix on each form you help to prepare that is ready for filing by the participant. The packet is comprised of the following. First, a petition for dissolution of marriage. The petition for dissolution of marriage is on page 10 of the sample self-help divorce packet. It consists of 3 pages. The participant's name should be filled out under petitioner and their spouse's name under respondent. Please ask the participant for their full legal name prior to writing it on the petition. Fill out the blanks in the petition according to the information provided to you by the clinic participant. Next is the party's information sheet, which is on page 13 of the sample self-help divorce packet. Please fill out the appropriate information. Please use the participant's full name as they wish it to appear on the petition. The names must match on all documents completed. Next is the summons for personal service, which is on page 14 of the sample self-help divorce packet. The respondent's name and address should be completed, but if there are issues of unknown whereabouts, the participant will need to receive additional information about diligent search and constructive service. If you come across an issue of the opposing party's whereabouts, please do not complete the packet until you have spoken to a Legal Services of Greater Miami or CAVA staff member. The next form is a family law cover sheet on page 18 of the sample self-help divorce packet. It should be filled out with the appropriate information. Next is the notice of Social Security number, which is on page 19 of the self-help divorce packet. The parties are required to file this notice as part of their dissolution action for the limited purpose of statistics and the administration of public benefits. Next is a notice of related cases, which is on page 22 and 23 of the sample self-help divorce packet. This form is to indicate to the court whether both parties to this action are also involved in another matter, whether in the past or currently pending. For example, domestic violence, child abuse and neglect, child support unconnected with dissolution, prior dissolution, etc. Next is an acknowledgement of receipt, which is on page 6 of the sample self-help divorce packet. This form is a receipt from the self-help program confirming that the clinic participant obtained their packet from the self-help program and that they meet the criteria for a simple divorce. There are two other documents that may be required in these cases. One is an affidavit of corroborating witness that is on page 20 of the sample self-help divorce packet. This document must be executed if either party cannot prove that they have lived in the state of Florida for more than 6 months prior to the filing of their petition, by issuance date on their voter registration card or Florida driver's license. Advise the applicant that at the time of the final hearing for uncontested divorce, they must have in their possession for inspection by the judge their voter registration card or Florida driver's license or identification card that was issued more than 6 months prior to the filing date. Otherwise, the applicant must present to the judge the affidavit of corroborating witness or have a witness present who can attest to the applicant's residency of more than 6 months prior to the date of filing. That witness will also have to prove that he or she has been a resident of the state of Florida for more than 6 months prior to the date of filing. The other is the affidavit of indigency. This document is available on this webpage and labeled Sample Application for Determination of Civil Indigent Status. If the participant cannot afford the filing fee for the petition and related documents, they may apply to have this filing fee waived at the time of filing their petition. This status also entitles the applicant to a waiver of service of process fees, sheriff fees, certified copies of orders or final judgments, one photocopy of any court pleading, mediation services and fees, subpoena fees and services, and some other general costs or services arising out of pending litigation. The status is determined by the clerk at the time of filing. If the applicant is denied the status, he or she can appeal the decision to a circuit court judge for review. The clerk of court will inform the applicant of the judge's decision within a few days. Please note that some of these forms require a signature only. Others require a signature before a notary. Please review these distinctions with clinic participants as needed. Please be aware that the parties will have to file a family law financial affidavit within 45 days of service of the petition on the respondent if the matter is or becomes contested. This form is not included in the packet, and we will not be assisting participants in completing this form. You can advise participants that a free form is available at www.flcourts.org, or they can return to self-help for further assistance with additional forms. Once you have completed the packet for the clinic participant, they will need to return to the self-help program to have their packet reviewed prior to filing. Each participant should have received a return appointment at the time that they picked up their packets at self-help. You may want to remind them to attend this appointment with their completed packet. Upon approval by self-help, they can immediately file for dissolution with the clerk of courts. Before the applicant leaves, please make sure of the following: that the clinic applicant information form is completed. All pages required for signature are signed and signed notarized as appropriate. The first page of each document bears the label "Prepared with the assistance of pro bono counsel at the Simple Divorce Clinic, a joint project with CAVA and Legal Services of Greater Miami." You have reminded the participant to attend the return appointment with self-help and provided the applicant with a referral sheet if they do not meet the eligibility for participation in the clinic. A referral sheet is available on the Legal Services of Greater Miami volunteer webpage. A CAVA or Legal Services of Greater Miami attorney will be available during each session of the clinic to answer any questions you may have while assisting clinic participants. Thank you again for your interest. If you have any questions, please call LSGMI at 305-576-0080 or the CAVA Pro Bono Project at 305-646-0046.